If you're anything like me, then you've been waiting, I don't know, how long has it been now? Almost exactly 3 years since Guilty Gear Strive released, huh? Okay, so yeah, I've been waiting 3 years for my favorite Guilty Gear character to make his debut in Strive. And in this trailer that was released after Grand Finals at EVO Japan, I'm happy to say the wait was worth it. Slayer looks just dandy. So we're gonna be taking a detailed look at this trailer and see what information we can glean from the laid-back and dignified vampire's new moveset and compare it with his movesets from the past. Okay, so the first thing that we see here is something that Slayer definitely did not have in Xrd, but is a move from Accent Core. A version of his iconic dandy step move where he doesn't swing back at all, he just dashes forward, and I like this a lot. And we actually see Slayer pass right through Happy Chaos's clone, which you usually can't move through with this move. This may mean that it works like it does in Accent Core, and you can actually side switch your opponent if you're close enough to them. Or it might just be a unique interaction with this move, who knows. Then this looks to me like a low attack out of Dandy Step, which is a new follow-up option for this move in Strive. Then we see Slayer gets a full combo if you hit this low on counter hit, but this next launcher move that he does is also a completely new move that he does a few times throughout this trailer. And the only thing I can really land on for this move to be is his close slash. It looks like it comes out in about 7 frames and is jump cancelable, which are all pretty solid close slash indicators. Slayer then takes to the air to finish this combo with his classic jumping kick, which is cancelled into an air dash, into a slightly less goofy than usual looking jumping slash, into his jumping 2K from Xrd, which I'm honestly kind of surprised to see return in Strive, but I like it. Though, worth noting, in Xrd when Slayer did his J2K, it gave him a little vertical boost in the air, and it looks like that is not present in Strive, he just keeps falling down. Alright, on to the next scene where we see Slayer does indeed have the sway back version of Dandy Step, and of course Slayer's flagship move returns, the Dandy Step follow-up, Pile Bunker. Also worth noting, it looks like the forward swing on Dandy Step here goes a pretty far distance. Here's Slayer at the peak of his swing back, and Pile Bunker puts him directly in Kai's face. Traditionally, Slayer has 2 different versions of the swinging Dandy Step, one short distance and one long distance, and if both of these options are present in Strive, then this is definitely the long distance one. And I don't know if this was just done for cinematics for the trailer, or if this is actually how it works, but this one counter hit Pile Bunker is enough to splat Kai to the walls, so that's pretty funny. I also really like this little puff of smoke that Slayer puffs out after hitting Pile Bunker. Yeah, that's pretty clean. Then we get to see a third follow-up from Dandy Step for this wall break, and yeah, that's a new one. It somewhat resembles the Helter Skelter Dandy Step follow-up from Xrd, where Slayer also jumps up in the air, but in that game he comes down with like a ground stomp kind of thing. While in Strive, he comes down and strikes the ground with his hand, so guess we'll have to see on that one. Then we see what I'm assuming is Slayer's victory pose, where he summons Sharon from his cape and is as charming as ever. And moving on, boom, there's Slayer's as classic as ever 2H, a super long range high recovery launcher. It looks like this gets a counter hit, after which it looks like Slayer can actually special cancel into his forward moving Dandy Step. It looks like he doesn't do a follow-up on Dandy Step, as we see what looks to be his idle animation play for just a few frames before Slayer goes into that close slash we were talking about earlier. Then it looks like a Gatling into what I'm assuming to be his new far slash, which appears to be a 2-hit punch, and he cancels that into what pretty closely resembles his 5H of the past, and then cancels that into a classic special move of Slayer's, Mappa Hunch, a forward lunging punch that seems to send Slayer flying across the screen, though this move traditionally also has 2 different versions. A K version that sends Slayer far forward, which would be the one we see here if he does have both versions, and a P version that doesn't move him forward much at all. Also worth noting, Slayer traditionally was a character that didn't have many Gatlings and had to link moves together to extend a lot of combos. In Xrd, for example, he couldn't Gatling his far slash into his 5H, but it very much looks like that's what's happening here, so we'll have to see. Alright, cut to the next scene where we see Slayer starting to pressure this blocking Axel with close slash, which is cancelled into what I'm assuming is some kind of command normal, but who knows, it could be a special. In this move, Slayer's hand grows very big and claws the opponent, which brings them in closer, and I really like that. This move kind of reminds me of Slayer's unblockable move in Xrd, Undertow, but just in a visual sense because Slayer's arms get super big and he swipes at the opponent in that move as well. Then after the move that brought Axel closer, we see Slayer's classic command grab, Blood-Sucking Universe. And based on the next shot in this trailer, it seems to work similarly to how it worked in Xrd, healing Slayer for some health and applying a buff to him that makes the next special move he hits automatically have counter hit properties, which is displayed here where we see a 4th follow-up for Dandy Step, which appears to be the move called It's Late from previous Guilty Gear games and is his overhead follow-up. A very cool detail here is that instead of saying counter in the background, it says universe, due to this being the counter hit from Slayer's command grab grab buff. I think that's pretty cool. And while we don't see Slayer follow up on this counter hit overhead in any way, we do see poor Axel just blasting off to the stars, so I'm thinking there's a combo here for sure. And then we see something really interesting and kind of concerning. So we haven't seen Slayer dash in this trailer yet, right? And traditionally, Slayer has a step dash, kind of like Leo or Giovanna in Strive, where if you dash with him, he moves forward a set amount of distance instead of entering a run. Or I guess in Slayer's case, it's not a set distance, but you get what I mean. Slayer's step dash was a teleport in past games, and his backdash teleport was very unique in that you can cancel it. And when you canceled this backdash, the invulnerability that you get with your backdash, it didn't just go away, it carried over into whatever action you canceled the backdash with, and this is known as backdash canceling. I think a lot of people probably thought Slayer would not have this in Strive since, you know, there's a one-button macro for dash, but to me, it really looks like Slayer is backdash canceling in this clip. But then again, I also have no idea what move he's doing out of this quote-unquote backdash, so it's a new one, meaning it's also possible that this is just a new special move where he sways backwards with invincibility and then does this follow-up attack that swings him forward again. Except it might be kind of weird for him to have another sway back and sway forward move since he already has dandy step. So I have no idea, we'll have to wait and see what this is. But whatever it is, he hits a counter hit and follows up with his classic 5k, which has traditionally been one of Slayer's best normals, so I love seeing that come back. And he cancels that into a Mappa hunch again, but this time the screen does not cut away so quickly, so we get to see how far Slayer moves forward with it, and yeah, that's a lot of distance. I love me some forward moving special moves, so I like that. We get some coordinated vampire snapping action going on here, and then we get to see one of Slayer's supers, which, well, I have no words for that. This is just amazing. Though I will point out that the screen freezes for like a really long time when Slayer does this super. It kind of looks like he's charging something up. I wonder if there's a mechanic here where you can dump more meter into this super or something like that. Guess we'll have to wait and see. Though it could just be solely for cinematic effect as well. And most importantly, do Slayer's clothes remain off for the rest of the match after you land this super? Then in this next shot, we see a combo start with close slash that's canceled into 2H, where he then cancels into a second super, which is completely new, where Slayer floats forward with a swarm of bats around him and grabs the opponent. I wonder if this will be an actual command grab super or not, and this super animation is just... God, I love this. After he bites into Soul's neck, we see a much younger looking Slayer as the trailer ends, which really just leaves me with a lot more questions. Is this an install? Are you young Slayer for the rest of the match after you hit this super? Does it affect your moves in any way? It even looks like this isn't the full super animation, as right as the screen cuts away, it looks like this young Slayer is preparing an attack of some sort. So yeah, I'm absolutely ecstatic about this trailer. The team at ArcSys did a phenomenal job with how this character looks, and I cannot wait until May 30th to play him. So have a dandy old day, Slayer bros. We are so back. Peace.